Up by 13 at half-time. Brilliant first quarter, 5 goals to none. Then the second was the total opposite. Good to see the big dogs, Darcy and Tracy, throwing their weight around. Rising Star Mundy's been good again. Fife could be having a blinder if he could kick straight. Time in football, and Freo's first month of the season has been the perfect example of that. This week the boys decided that they did want to play a game of footy and bounce back from last week's shit show with a 15-point win, the final score of Fremantle 13-18-96 over the mighty pricks of Hawthorn 12-9-81. We clapped them in the first quarter and Hawthorn never led, but I must admit I was packing it at some point as they eroded our 34-point quarter-time lead. Honestly, I thought we had gone in too tall with 2 ruck dogs and 3 key forwards, especially considering the forecast was suggesting some rain. I also thought Stephen Gyro was very unlucky to get dropped, considering he was one of our best players last week. I think the majority of fans would have rather see him keep his spot over Trav Collier. Some of the Instagram comments on the Freo pre-game post included, dropping Gyro is unforgivable, Gyro deserves to be in the team over Collier for sure, what is cauliflower doing with a spot still, lads? But clearly it worked. Let's have a look at some of the stats comparison. Last week, inside 50s, we were minus 21. This week, we were plus 15. Clearances last week, negative 14. This week, plus 7. Contested ball last week, we were negative 17. This week, we broke even. Considering Hawthorn's physical approach and our developing midfield, this is a pretty good result. And a big one, marks inside 50. Last week, we were negative 10. This week, we were plus 10. We had just 10 marks inside 50 all game last week. This week, we had 11 in the first quarter alone. We were still dominated in uncontested ball, but Hawthorn's high kicking, uncontested marking and possession-based game style played into that. Obviously the first quarter was great, the second quarter was shite, but the boys stood up when they needed to, winning the fourth quarter stats by plus 11 clearances, plus 8 contested ball and plus 7 inside 50s. Moving on to some individuals now, Adam Shearer reliable as always, 23 touches, 7 marks, 6 tackles, and came away with 1 coach's vote. Nat Fife back from a week off, 31 touches, 6 clearances and a game high 14 contested possessions. Clearly his concussion was still acting up though, as he didn't have a clue where the goals were. He received 6 coach's votes, 1 for every behind he kicked. Young David Mundy, 25 touches, 7 clearances, 1 goal and a Rising Star nomination. He topped the coach's votes with 9 and I think he has a very bright future ahead. And big ruck dog cheeky boy Sean Darcy, 18 hitouts, 5 marks, all contested, 3 goals and 6 coaches votes, by far his best game in his Fremantle career so far. Some more special mentions, Trav Collier proved a lot of us wrong in the end with 2 goals including the sealer. The comments were a bit different post game, one said well done Collier, probably close to if not best on ground for us today, good step up from him. And the same bloke who referred to him as cauliflower pre-game said, how did Travers do that good? Here's what JL had to say about him.
Travis Collier cops a bit of criticism at times from fans, but he was as important as anyone today.
I didn't know that. But yeah, I think round 1, maybe he got a bit of criticism for his goal kicking. But the thing I'm most concerned about is, was he in the right spot to get those shots on goal? Was he playing his role for the team? And was he bringing an effort to offence and defence? And Travie always brings those. At times, probably some of his execution might let him down in front of goal, but just really rapt for him to be able to finish his work off today because he's a good person to have around the club. He works really hard on his game. He's a good teammate to his teammates and. It's good to see him get some reward for effort.
Young Heath Chapman was impressive again. He had 18 touches and kicked the first goal of his career, albeit the beneficiary of a 50-metre penalty. He's been a very solid defender for us, and I've even seen people compare him to Michael Johnson and Luke McFarlane. Chapman had kicked 2 goals and set up a few more for a total of 10 score involvements. Caleb Sarongi just keeps getting better. He had 23 touches and 7 clearances. Josh Tracy threw his weight around on debut. He took 3 contested marks and probably should have had his first goal had he kicked truly on the quarter-time siren. Big Freddie, the cult hero, was exciting again, kicked a great goal, which was even better after seeing this behind the goals vision on Access All Areas.
We produced the highlight of the round when it came to a goal being kicked, and this is the broadcast vision of this game. You can see the scores, 10-point lead to Fremantle. They never got closer than that, the Hawks, and the man on the end of this, Michael Frederick, Lordy, has put the afterburners on to burn off Chunkoth Juff, and you want to show us where this started?
Yeah, just for even kids at home, that's the role of a half forward now. You have to push that far down the ground to help your team defend, but once you win the ball back, this is how fit Frederick and so many of these forwards are. Brian Myers does it extremely well for the Geelong Footy Club as well, and he ends up kicking that goal, but he's ran 150 metres to get there.
Reece Honker, not as noticeable but just as important, he kept Luke Bruce to just 8 touches and no scoring, and the whole back 6 really were pretty solid. Special mention to Toby Watson, who not only played very well but also showed off his brilliant Ranger mullet. And also credit to Andy Brazier, who had to recover from a heavy tag from James Warple in the first half. He had just 3 touches to half time, then got given the role of tagging Tom Mitchell, then in the last quarter collected 9 touches himself. Here's what JL and Adam Shearer had to say about him.
I thought he went away from his role when he first got tagged. And then once he just thought about executing his role for the team, he got himself into the game. Firstly, that was on Mitchell, but in the last quarter, it was just getting back to what he does best. And he's going through a phase now where he's going to have to learn to deal with the tension, and that's a credit to him because he started the year really well. And teams are identifying him to put time into, so he should wear that as a badge of honour, really, and embrace it. And he doesn't necessarily have to do too many things different. He just needs to do his part for the team.
I think he's relishing on the challenge, and we're going to help him as well, but it's going to make him an even better player.
So overall, a very strong response and a good win against a physical Hawthorn team who throughout the game were being major twats. We don't usually get much coverage in the media, but Matthew Lloyd was actually very complimentary of Freo in access all areas this week.
What I love about Fremantle is, yes, they might not be ready to play finals this year, but I think Fredericks, Sean Darcy, just about best on ground yesterday, Brayshaw, Chera, Sarong, they're building a very nice group.
So moving on to next week against the mighty Adelaide Crom at the Adelaide Oval. Number one focus at the moment would have to be to shut down Tex. Considering our injury hit defence, I reckon the Texan might be feeling a bit excited about this week. Having said that, my big and 99% chance of being wrong call this week is the headline of Brendan Cox blankets Taylor Walker to 0 goals. On the positive of the injury list, it does look like Griffin Logue will be back this week, while Lockie Schiltz, Darcy Tucker and Rory Lobb will all be tests to be available. Let's just hope we can finally find some consistency across games, consistency across 4 quarters, and perform away from home for the first time this year. At this stage, I'm not feeling awfully confident about it. I think the Crom might just get up, but I'll be happily proved wrong. Let's just hope for the best, and we'll be back here for a review of that game on Sunday.